What's up all my Art 1 students out there? I'm going to show you guys how to complete the third rough draft, which is tracing the shadow. Essentially what you're going to do is you're going to take an object, put it on a piece of paper. You're not going to draw the object, but instead you're going to draw the shadow of the object. So some items you're going to need for this rough draft is you're going to need a pencil, maybe an eraser, pencil sharpener. You can also do this with a pen if you don't have a pencil. You're going to need a light source. I borrowed this lamp from the electrical department. And of course you're going to need some objects to cast some shadows. I have a bottle of hand sanitizer, spoon, I've got a vase. I will tell you that I want you to experiment with some shallow objects like a pair of scissors versus taller objects. When I say shallow, that means close to the table, really, really short, and taller objects which are obviously come taller off the table. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick demonstration. Here's the base of the lamp, and so that gives you a point of reference where the shadow is going to be created. So like you can obviously tell right off the bat there's the shadow. And you can start playing around to see how much of the shadow fills up the piece of paper. So I get really, really close to the lamp and the shadow is not that long. But when I start getting further away from the lamp, you can obviously tell the shadow gets longer and longer and longer. When I get to a point where I like it, like I want it to be right about there, you're gonna lightly trace around the shadow. Now you might notice as you look really, really close that there's multiple lines for the shadows. That's because in my classroom, there's more than one light. There's just not this light right here, but there's lights that surround me. I generally have a good idea of where my shadow is now. So I'm just going to go ahead and start creating the value of the shadow. So whenever I create this one right here, like let's say I'm going to create this really light one out here. I'm just going to very, very, very lightly put down some graphite. And I'm just going to go ahead and use hatching. Just like that. And I'm going to move my hand back. The reason I'm moving my hand back, because you might notice the shadow of my hand is actually casting a shadow on the shadow that I'm trying to copy. Every now and then, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to cover it up like this to make sure I'm doing it right. So I'm going to take my hand, you see? I'm going to take my hand, I'm going to place it over there to see how I'm doing and go back and forth to check it. That's not bad. So at this point, I'm going to pull it to see how it looks. Hey, it kind of looks like a duck, or maybe like a crane or something. So the shallow object I'm going to do is going to be a spoon, and you'll notice right off the bat, it's really easy to cast a long shadow with a tall object. As opposed to a more shallow object, it's going to be more difficult to cast. I might be forced to move my light around so I can cast enough shadow so I can actually get this done. Let's try it out. All right, you'll see that it does cast some shadow right there. But honestly, I would like to see if I can get a longer shadow. So I'm going to take this light and I'm going to lay it down flat. See if I can cast a bigger shadow. Not really. It's got definitely some layers in here where it gets really dark and then it gets a little bit lighter back up in here. That's a pretty interesting shadow. I'm going to go ahead and try to copy it. Keep on moving the spoon. That's not bad. Let's take it off and take a look. All right, there is the shadow of the spoon. Some other things that you can use is like a glass. I don't have one of those, but I do have a vase. Let's see how a vase works. The goal of the exercise is just to represent the shadows that you see by making marks on your piece of paper in different gradients of dark and light. For shadows right here, like those are really, really dark, so I went ahead and make my marks really, really dark. Same thing with this part on the bottle of hand sanitizer, but it got really, really light up here, and this one is really gentle. So go ahead and put marks on your piece of paper that represent the strength or the intensity of the shadow. Go ahead and create 3 objects really quick. Go ahead and try to represent the shadows that you see. Put them on a couple pieces of paper really quickly with the pencil. You can also use a pen to do cross-hatching, hatching, scumbling, etc. Just try to look for the shadows. Remember, this isn't a complicated project. Don't overthink it. This is just a rough draft. Draw the shadows or copy the shadows that you see. Take a picture of it, put it in your art portfolio. I look forward to seeing your work. Thanks.